wondering if it was going to be her. We did send her an invite on Twitter, and it got some responses, but it was not an RSVP to come and be with us. But y'all know that in the House of Representatives, you elect us, and we elect our leader. One of the most important responsibilities we have in the House is to elect someone that can use the gavel and use that position to balance all of the things that we have to be concerned with or focus on your behalf. I wrote the Speaker a letter right as I was elected, and I said, Mr. Speaker, I appreciate you. I have faith in you. I'm going to support you. And if the day ever comes where I don't, you'll be the first one to know. And that day hadn't come yet. He has been very supportive of us, of me, of this caucus, of this state, and done an unbelievable job balancing all of the craziness between our minority party, our majority, all of the policy that we have to do. So I want to introduce you to a man that really deserves much of the credit for a lot of the success we've seen in rural Georgia, South Georgia, and we've had the opportunity to serve with him. I want to introduce you to Speaker David Ralston. Speaker, come up and speak.
Well, thank you, Dominic, and as you can tell, nobody will ever mistake me for Alyssa Milano. But I got better friends than she does because Dominic LaRiccia is my friend. Thank you all for having us here tonight. Wow. You know, I always enjoy coming down here. You make us feel at home. Dominic just packs this room every time we come, and we have a lot of fun, get to see a lot of old friends, make new friends. And so I want to begin by saying how much I appreciate getting to see y'all. I want to thank you for supporting Dominic. I came down here the year he got elected, and I was immediately impressed with his work ethic, his honesty, his integrity. He's a fine Christian man, good family man, and he brought all of those qualities with him when he came to Atlanta. And let me tell you something, you don't have to worry about Dominic. He's representing this community absolutely the finest way it can be. And y'all are to be commended for sending him down there. And thank you for being here and supporting him. Because it's like he said, I don't get to see buckets almost this full that often. Good job. I'm going to take part of that with me. Find somewhere to put it. You know, it's unfortunate that we have to ask our friends for this money. I even got criticized back a few months ago for doing fundraisers for my members. I said, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal. When Barack Obama and Eric Holder and George Soros promise they won't send any money into Georgia next year in the election, I'll quit doing fundraisers. But I won't until then. The problem is I don't think I could believe their promises, but thank you for helping Dominic and supporting him, standing by he and his family. He is doing an outstanding job. One more Dominic story. You know, a few years ago Dominic and I share a passion for rural Georgia, and I know Governor Kemp does too. And so back in 2017, he helped us create the Rural Development Council, which is meeting actually this week over in Moultrie. That was a creation of the House. And everybody in the House from outside 285 wanted to be on the Rural Development Council. But nobody had 500 people from their community that sent me letters wanting to be on it, except Dominic LaRiccia. I finally had to say, look, call them off down there, okay? I can't read all of these. I know that they want you on, and I know you want on, and I put him on, and he's doing a great job. And John Corbett down in Eccles County is the vice chairman this year. I know Clay Perkle's been over there all day at meetings today, and I appreciate the great work that they're doing, and I appreciate Dominic's service on that. I want to just say how honored I am to be here tonight with my friend Governor Kemp. He and I started this morning out. We got these magazines that people read. I don't read them. I figure it's just more important that I know people that do read them, because I don't think I enjoy reading them. You agree, Governor? Site Selection, Economic Development magazines, but these are magazines that are put out by people who do economic development all over the United States. And one of those magazines has rated us for 7 years in a row. 7 years in a row of being the #1 state in the nation to do business. And this morning, the other rated us for the 6th year in a row of being the #1 state in the nation to do business. That is a real tribute to this governor and his team of bringing jobs and bringing opportunity, not just to Atlanta, but to all of Georgia. And that's what we're trying to do. I'm a product of rural Georgia. Thursday night sometime, Friday, can't remember when I'll get back to the mountains of North Georgia, but it's going to be rural Georgia. We ain't got no gnats either, by the way, if y'all want to come see us. And plenty of fine apples this time of year. But Georgia is winning. Georgia is winning in terms of growing jobs. We're winning in terms of promoting our values. We're winning in terms of just moving this state ahead. And I know the governor meets with people from all over the country throughout the year, as I do. And I meet with people in government from all other states, and they're wringing their hands and they're whining about their pension problems and their unemployment problems and all these problems they're having. I haven't got anything to offer. So we're doing pretty darn well here because we've got good conservative Georgians running this state, like Dominic, like Brian Kemp, like Clay Perkle, John Corbett, and some of the others that are here. And I hope we're doing a good job representing you. And we're going to continue to do that. We're in a very competitive time here in Georgia. I don't have to tell you that. We got an election cycle coming up next year that we're going to have, I guess, 2 U.S. Senate races now, presidential race, state house, state senate. It's all going to be on the line. I don't want us to turn around and go back. I don't want to go back in a direction that we came from. I want Georgia to keep winning and moving forward, and with your help, we're going to do that. So thank you. God bless you. Keep praying for us. Keep helping us. And I'll be back in the fall later again to see Dominic every time he wants me down here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A couple other folks, and I apologize I didn't mention them before. I just brain slip, but Representative Perkle, the sheriff's part of Coffee County. John Corbett's the chairman of Motor Vehicles. Senator Tyler Harper, that serves the 7th Senate District. It's odd how much like family they become when we're up there, because you're away from home, you're up there all week, and you just have kind of your little group that you hang out with. Everybody's accusing John Corbett of only taking me fishing in Eufaula because we put 2 pictures on Facebook. So it turns out you can't put fish pictures on Facebook because they accuse us of fishing all the time. We went twice. It just happened to be 2 very good trips. But no, thank you, Tyler, Clay, and John. Y'all mean the world to me. Another group that has been a blessing to me and to this community. They work hard every time we have events, every time it's an election, and they get involved. The Coffee County Republican Party's got a table set up back here. Clearly, they're getting ready for 2020 with Senator Perdue and then whomever will be the candidate in 2020 for the other U.S. Senate seat, and there'll be some House and Senate seats that they'll help us work on. So thank y'all for what you do. I know a lot of people, it's just a small group that meets the first Thursday of every month at Flying Cowboy, and they have a strong meeting every week. And then my buddies, my best friend in the world, David Knight and Flying Cowboy, kind of helped us with the food tonight and helped us earlier today. Thank y'all so much. But I'm gonna introduce a man that many of you heard me talking about the day he qualified. You know, until somebody puts their name on that dotted line before the deadline to qualify, they're not a candidate. You've got to put your name on the line. And I remember having some conversations with our friends in South Georgia and rural Georgia. Many of you are here tonight. Well, who's going to run for governor? Who's going to run for governor? And I was at a Farm Bureau meeting and got questioned about it. And I said, well, I'm pretty sure that Brian Kemp will put his name on the ballot to be the next governor of Georgia. Well, then everybody's next question was, who are you going to support? I'll never forget one night I was at a meeting and I said, I will be supporting Brian Kemp 100%. And I'm still speaking to the group. I'm up there just still giving my little speech and my phone buzzes. And I look at it and Governor Kemp said, thank you for the kind words. So I said, whoo, you know, but, you know, most of you helped me when we supported him in this hangar as he was running for governor. A lot of you started asking some questions about, is he the guy? Is he the one? I said, absolutely. And kind of piggybacking on what the speaker said. I said, this could well be the best opportunity rural Georgia has. And this is not to discredit any of our former governors. I said, this could well be the best opportunity we've had for rural Georgia to have a governor. I said, but let me tell you what it's going to take. A bunch of votes. Because rural Georgia, you know, half the state lives in and around the greater metro Atlanta area. So we worked hard. You helped me raise money for him. We turned out. His wife, Marty, is doing an unbelievable job as the First Lady. Jarrett, Lucy, and Amy Porter, his girls work hard every day. They are an example of teenage daughters that have stood behind him and worked with him. He's a hard-working husband, family man, father. He's the governor that I knew in my heart that this state needed, because I'm biased over rural Georgia. Well, I was in Atlanta on November after he was elected. My phone rang. I just happened to be going to my office, and I looked at it, and it said, Brian Kemp. At that time, he was kind of out of Secretary of State running for governor, but he called me. I answered it, and I said, Governor, did you butt dial me? He said, oh, no. He said, need to talk to you. And I said, well, I'm across the street. I said, are you at the Capitol? He said, yeah, I'm in Suite 142. I said, I'm on my way. So in my history, getting called by the people high up was not necessarily a good thing. So I'm thinking, man, he ain't even been sworn in yet, and I'm in trouble. So I come walking in, it's he and Tim Fleming, his chief of staff, and they had me a chair kind of pulled out. He said, have a seat right here, and I'm just a nervous wreck. I thought maybe I had said something or run into one of them movie stars or something, and I'd stuck my foot in my mouth. He said, I need some floor leaders. And I thought, oh, goodness, you know, because I've worked with floor leaders of former governors. I know what that job entails, and it's heavy, and it can get real heavy. And I said, now, Governor, I said, are you sure that I'm on that list to talk to about being a floor leader? Because I'm kind of a lightning rod. I don't even try to do anything. It just finds me. He said, oh, yeah. He said, I need you. And at the time, I was running for vice chairman of our Republican caucus in the House. I said, well, you know, I probably need to talk to the speaker. He said, nah, we've talked to him. And I said, well, I'm your guy. And my buddies make fun of me when I get emotional. But I cannot describe the feeling of walking into that Capitol every morning, some of us at 5:30 and some of those guys about 7:30 or 8. But I'm usually one of the first ones there, and when you walk into an office every morning that says the office of Governor Brian Kemp, and your key actually fits the door, it's the most unreal feeling that I have. It's chill bumps every time I walk in there. And to say that I am honored to have the opportunity to serve with the 83rd governor of Georgia is an understatement. But I'm not introducing you to the governor necessarily. I'm introducing you to one of my good friends that I have the blessing to be able to work for, that is one of the finest husband, father, and hard-working men I've ever had the privilege to be around. So y'all please give a warm South Georgia District 169 welcome to the 83rd Governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp.
Oh, wow, thank y'all very much. I really appreciate that. Dominic, that is by far the longest introduction I've had since I've become governor, but I'm grateful for that. You know, Dominic LaRiccia is making history up in the state capitol. He is the first floor leader that has ever called the governor's office and requested 3 spaces on the block to come up for a meeting because he was pulling his boat and he needed somewhere to park it, which we obliged him with. But I can't thank... Dominic said he was a lightning rod sometimes. I wondered why the session got so out of control at times this year. But we had a great year, and this guy, and really this whole delegation, they've been named already. They're great friends of mine. They work very hard for you, and we are proud to have them up there. I know Speaker Ralston and I talk about this a lot. You know, these are the kind of members that we need in the legislature that bring the values from Coffee County and this whole part of our state to Atlanta, and they aren't afraid to express those values and stand up for what we believe in, because we are in a fight in our country right now, and we've done some great things with a great team, and that includes Speaker Ralston. We knew we needed to have a really good session after what we've been through in the campaign, literally with y'all's support of helping us and helping our whole team. We really beat the rest of the country last year. And we beat the billionaires from California and New York and Boston and everywhere else around the country. I mean, it was unreal what we went through. And we're fixing to go through that again. And we got to keep you all engaged like you are tonight. So I'm just very grateful. I was laughing when the speaker was talking about the Site Selection Magazine and Area Development Magazine, which was the one today that we celebrated the 6th year in a row best state for business. And I was just looking at an article in the Atlanta paper. Now, you can never get the Atlanta paper, as Caleb knows, who does a lot of press stuff for the speaker. It's hard to get them to write any good stories, right? So we finally have good news today, and the headline in the AJC is Kemp continues hoopla over #1 state in the business, just in the country for business, just like Governor Deal did. Well, I don't know about y'all, but I think that's pretty good to celebrate. Amen. #1. Well, #2, they didn't even mention in the article that one of the other things that we mentioned today was a record amount of economic investment over the last year in our state. The most ever, $7.2 billion, around 30,000 jobs that were created. And on top of that, 75% of those projects, and it was hundreds of them, went outside of Metro Atlanta, which is what we've been talking about. The House has been working on it for years to strengthen rural Georgia. I campaigned on it. I've been focused on it for a long time. We announced just yesterday our rural strike team, something that I campaigned on, another promise. We are rolling that out right now. The speaker and I had a great conversation about that today to continue the momentum that we have in rural parts of our state. And look, we got a lot of issues we got to tackle. But I know from doing business down here, from being in the private sector 30 years, from visiting every county in our state, all 159 of them, over the last decade or so, and getting to know so many people and what drives the economy and the great things about our state, I know we have such great opportunity down here. And we got to start singing that song and letting people know that there's opportunity here. And we're also tackling the problems and keeping our promises to you. You know, there's a lot of people that got mad from Hollywood at Dominic and I and a lot of other folks that stood up for our values when it came to life and supporting the heartbeat bill this year. And I would just tell you, you know, I've told people we can't run from our values. We got to tell people who we are and what we believe in, and we got to keep our promises to people. So even the people that are mad at me and say, I don't like that bill, I say, look, I understand that. We can disagree on policy, but you got to know one thing. I fulfilled the campaign promise, and that's what I told you I would do. Just like I told you that we would get the largest teacher pay raise in the history of our state done with a lot of help with a lot of help from the local delegation, from the speaker, the lieutenant governor. I mean, our whole team, our whole Republican team up there embraced that. School safety. We talked about it on the campaign trail. We passed in the amended budget 2 months before the last mass shooting we had, a $30,000 complete local control school safety grants, doing what we said we'd do. Funding, double the funding for the APEX program to get more mental health counselors in our schools to deal with some of these violent issues that we have. Half the school shootings around the country are tied to a mental health issue. We cannot continue to only rely on our teachers and our administrators to deal with those. They don't have the training to do that. It's very difficult, or if not illegal, for them to get treatment to those individuals, but the counselors can do that. So again, that's something that we campaigned on, that we're delivering on. And that's what we're going to continue to do. But we can only do it if we keep our majorities in the legislature. It is imperative that you all stay engaged. Do not take any single race for granted with any of these folks that are in the room. State House, State Senate, your local elected officials, certainly re-electing our U.S. Senator David Perdue. I can't tell you how, I know you all don't get to see David Perdue as much as you may see myself or the speaker, because we're in the state most every day. But that guy was a tenacious fighter to help our farmers and our farm families after Hurricane Michael. And it was frustrating. You knew how frustrated I was with the process. But I mean, I was talking to David Perdue or his team almost daily. And the president supported us the whole way on that. And it was literally the other side playing politics with that. But we've got to get David reelected to hold the U.S. Senate so we can continue to have conservative justices of the Supreme Court that will stand up for our values. And that we will have a president that is a pro-growth, pro-business, pro-strong economy, pro-American economy. And I know there's a lot of tough things going on in the world right now, but there's some fights that are worth fighting. And I know it's tough on our farmers and our farm families. That's another reason that Marty and I have been pushing the Georgia Grown program so much and continued to focus on other things in rural Georgia. But we're going to come out of that, and we just have to keep fighting hard, because the other alternative will be disastrous. You will not have any choices when it comes to your health care, and you won't have many when it comes to your economy. And that is literally what at stake for us. But I am just so proud of the work that Dominic's doing, the leadership that he's shown as a floor leader. I'm very grateful to the speaker for turning him loose, if you will, to allow him to to serve in that role, because it is a tough role. He's having to, represent your values down from back here, but then also try to push the agenda that we have. And it's a tough job. He's a tough guy, and he can handle it. But he can only do it with your support. I just want to close real quick and mention, I know Dominic mentioned Marty and the girls. and they are making you proud, especially Marty. The girls were fantastic on the campaign. I know all of you saw them, but they're back at school doing their normal activity, and they're with us a lot, but not as much as they were during the campaign. But Marty continues to sell our brand, our conservative, compassionate, Republican brand, going after things that matter, ending human trafficking in our state, promoting the Georgia Grown program and having the mansion Georgia Grown and doing pet adoptions. I mean, she has been a face for a lot of things, and it's making a big difference. And it's making a big difference with a lot of people that didn't vote for us the last time. And I will tell you, that is a huge benefit, not only for us, but for me, but for our whole ticket. So I just want to tell you, like the speaker said, we appreciate your support. We appreciate your prayers. And just know that we have not forgotten you. There's a lot of people said that Donald Trump won the presidency because a lot of America felt like they had left behind and they had been forgotten and nobody was fighting for them. Well, I can promise you, this team and these local legislators, we are fighting every day for our state. And we're fighting every day for places like Douglas, Georgia, that are in rural Georgia, and a lot of the communities that surround it, to make it better tomorrow than it was today, and to leave it better for our kids than it is for our kids' kids than it is for our kids, because we can do it, and we got the team to do it, but we got to keep the team together. So thank y'all for having us, and God bless you.
Thank you, Governor. Taylor said he's got to slip out before 8. He'll be here just a couple more minutes, but thank y'all again so much for your support. Hang around. If you get a chance to maybe just tell him thank you for coming down, put pictures on Facebook, let him know that he's been to South Georgia more than any of the state leaders I've known from the past. And thank y'all so much, and God bless you.